Welcome back, listeners, to the Women of Wrestling podcast here on divadirt.com. It is episode number 12, and it is our first anniversary show.
Happy birthday to us.
Stop right there. That was Lee Burton. I'm Stu Allen. And, we're back with a show which, coincidentally enough, falls almost exactly on our first birthday. So we've managed to do 12 in a year. That's not a bad innings, considering we missed about, 5 months in a row.
Yeah, about that.
So, but I like to think we've been good for it this year. We've been good to you, our listeners, and we're going to continue to be good to you because we got for our 12th guest one of my favourites, actually. I'm happy to admit that, and that's the Radiant One herself, Rain, who's been in AAA for most of the last year, but you may have seen her around Shimmer, around WSU, IWA Mid-South. You may have seen her in TNA as Peyton Banks or in Wrestlicious as Felony. Plenty we can talk to her about. I'm going to talk about that coming up. Before we get to her, though, let's do some news.
Let's.
First of all, news-wise, Pro Wrestling Eve have just announced the talent lineup for their next show. Next show's going to be coming up on October 16th, same place as last time, the Delphi Club in Sudbury. Pretty much most of the same names that you know, but one or two changes.
Yeah, there's been a couple of additions for certain gyms, and these, if you're not too sure what we're on about as far as the gyms are concerned, because the DVD's coming out very soon, but you won't have seen it yet if you weren't there. There's different affiliations, so different wrestlers are representing different gyms. So you have a WAW gym for the people who are based around the Norfolk area. You have the Northern Shooters gym for the sort of tough bruisers who are based in the north of the UK, along those lines. So some of the gyms have new members to them, and Stu, you've got the list there, haven't you?
Yeah, as far as WAW are concerned, we've got the return of Sweet Saraya and Brittany Knight, as you might expect. Two new additions from Team WAW, and that's going to be Amazon, who's going to be making her debut for Eve, and also Destiny. So Destiny's been around quite a few years, quite a veteran of the scene now. Amazon, very new. Loads of potential as well, though. So again, if you haven't seen Amazon yet, she's really coming along leaps and bounds this past year. We've also got the first appearance in Eve of Shanna from Portugal. She's got no gym affiliation though. I think that was originally announced on the show that we did with Dan Reed, is it not?
It was, which is still available in the Women of Wrestling podcast list at divadirt.com, so click in and go and have a listen to it. It's the episode with Gemma Palmer.
And someone else who's going to make their debut on the show as well, and someone who should have made their debut on the first show, and that's Nikki Storm.
Now, I've seen Nikki Storm wrestle before. I've seen Nikki Storm wrestle at a promotion called Triple X Wrestling, where she has some favourite words, and most of them begin with F or C. So I don't know if she's going to be able to use those on such a family show as Pro Wrestling Eve, but it's going to be interesting to see what she does.
Yeah. I don't think she will, but we'll see. But we've also got the return of pretty much everybody else from the first show, including the alpha female. But one person that we haven't got coming back is going to be Blue Nikita.
No, she's been suspended from Pro Wrestling Eve.
Mm-hmm. So we'll, you can check out the evewrestling.com website. You can see the whole story up there for the reasonings behind that. But that's why we've got no Blue Nikita on the show coming up. But that's going to be October 16th at the Delphi Club in Sudbury in Suffolk here in the UK. That's for our UK listeners.
DVD's going to be out soon as well.
Yes, of that first show. So check that out as well. As far as international wrestling news is concerned, TNA, their, what's it called? The whole effing show, Impact?
Yes.
Yeah, we've got a new Knockouts champion, or at least possibly. I'm
As if that's what that belt needed, another new champion.
I'm loath to believe that we've actually seen a title change until we see another couple of weeks of TV after what happened last time. But once again, Angelina Love is your TNA Knockouts champion. Too many title changes that just devalues the belt, unfortunately.
It's all hot potato stuff as well. A lot of it isn't even necessary.
No, especially
that whole Dusty finish thing. That could have been easily sorted out that evening on the pay-per-view and not strung it out for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so you got a 2-week Dusty finish, which nobody really wanted to see. But hey, what can I say? It's not like they're prejudiced against the Knockouts because, and again, this isn't women's wrestling news, but they seem to be doing the same thing with their World Championship as well because, what I understand, Rob Van Dam has vacated the TNA title.
Yeah, but I know he's got long hair, but he's not a woman, so we won't be talking about that too much on this podcast.
Yeah, but what it means at least is that TNA incompetency is not just the problem for the knockouts; it's a problem for the guys as well, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh, great news!
Yes.
Melina's returned, and she's going to be facing Alicia Fox for the Divas title.
Oh, when's this?
SummerSlam.
Wow.
Anyway, the Diva Dirt Sexiest 50 is up and running as well.
Yes, it is indeed. And we've got our own pick. We'd like to officially endorse her on the show.
Yeah, there is one official winner and 49 also rans.
Go on then.
Yeah, we are putting our firm and full support behind Raina Von Tash.
Indeed so. She is impossibly gorgeous, so vote early, vote often, vote Raina Von Tash.
Go to many different computers and vote for Raina Von Tash. Maybe clear your cookies and then vote for Raina Von Tash again. Yep. I don't care if you use underhanded tactics, just do it.
Borrow your friend's computer and vote for Raina Von Tash.
Yeah, vote off your phone. Steal other people's phones and vote off them and give them the phone back, because otherwise you might be charged with a crime.
Do a check for any Wi-Fi in your area that's unsecured. Log on and vote for Raina Von Tash.
Break into people's houses, log on to their computers, vote for Raina Von Tash, and then fill up their ice cube trays when you leave, because otherwise it's just plain bad form.
And then, maybe the rest of the world will eventually see what we already do, and that's that Raina Von Tash is number one.
And she might even thank us by, I don't know, acknowledging our existence.
Impossible.
Yes.
But listen, we're going to get on to our interview now with Rain, another particularly gorgeous lady, in fact, if I do say so myself. But before
Why don't you tell her that?
I will, in fact. What we will do is just remind you how you can interact with us, because it's something that we rarely do on the show, but we are contactable. You can get in touch with us. We've got our Twitter account, WOW_podcast. If you're on Twitter, join up. You'll find out when shows are coming out. You'll get some exclusive news on there as well. Sometimes we break some news on there, so check that out.
We've got our Facebook page as well. If you just search for Women of Wrestling, that should bring us up. You'll see our logo on the side, so just that's another easy way to get hold of us.
Yep, you can also subscribe to us as well on iTunes. Be very pleased if you would do that as well, because it means you're never going to miss any shows. Diva is such a busy site sometimes that sometimes things can get missed. So make sure if you subscribe via iTunes, you're never going to miss a show. What we'd appreciate if you would do as well, if you do subscribe via iTunes, go on iTunes, drop a review as well, because you can review podcasts on there. I think we've got one at the minute, but you can stick some more reviews on there as well. Help spread the word.
And we've also got our new audio boo that we've set up, because we set one up because Pro Wrestling Eve's Becky James had an interview on Radio Cardiff last week, and we wanted somewhere to put it up, because we didn't want to really just set out a whole podcast for it, because it wasn't our audio, but we did want to pass it on to you guys. So we now have an audio boo, which is like YouTube but with sounds. So if you go to audioboo.fm/WOW_podcast, it's all there in 5 easy bite-sized chunks for you. We'll stick the link on that on the front page with the rest of the details as well.
There you go. So you can't say we're hiding. We're all here. If you want to let us know about the podcast, we've met our first year target. Let us know what you want to see in the second year, who you want to hear. Let us know. We'll try our best to help out.
And by the way, thanks very much for all the support over the last year. It's been great. We've done so much great stuff with this, and we're so happy with what we've done and how it's been received as well. So if you want to give any feedback to us, we are all ears for it. So just give us a yell, and we'll see what we can do.
You know what's weird as well, and that's our Facebook page has got the opportunity to tell us where people are listening to us from as well.
Yeah.
That is just bizarre, because you and I can see that because we're admins of the page. But we can see where people are listening to the show from. We can see where people are based. We have people listening to this show from all around the world. And, I mean, UK, fine. We're based in the UK. US, fine, because a lot of the people we talk to are American. But we've got people listening to us from right across all of the continents.
We have someone from Chile.
Bizarre.
Yes.
If you're from Chile and you're listening to the show, let us know.
Yeah, and we have a lot of people listening from Turkey.
Turkey's like one of our top subscriber bases. It's incredible.
So if you're listening in Istanbul or wherever else there is in Turkey, give us a yell. We want to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be nice to get in contact with people from all around the world, because why not?
And also, one last thing, I just wanted to point out that in my possession is a very, very rare DVD, which I'm probably going to be giving away in a competition very soon, so keep your eye out for that.
Yeah, may do that on the next show, in fact. Next show is going to be our Bizarro 13th show. Not quite sure what that's going to mean, but we're going to play with something, and we'll try and come up with something for you.
It'll be unconventional, at least.
We've never been one to be conventional.
True dat.
All right.
Well, I'm not American enough to say true dat.
You're not. But let's move on now, and let's go and welcome our guest to the show. She is none other than Rain. All right, welcome back to the show, and Rain está en la casa. Rain is in the house. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Hey, it's our pleasure. You've been someone we've wanted to have on for quite a while. We just got round now to asking you, and this is essentially the first year anniversary of the show, so I can think of no better way to celebrate it.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm glad to be a part of it.
Excellent. All right, then. Well, let's talk about, obviously what we've been up to the last year is doing a Women of Wrestling podcast, but what you've been up to for the last year is being a Lucha Libre star down in AAA. You debuted last year at Verano de Escandalo, and part of the Foreign Legion.
Yes, actually around this time last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Beginning of August was when I first went down there.
Yeah. The first question I have to ask, because it's the most obvious question to ask anybody that's coming from an American indie style and then going down to work in Mexico, is how difficult was it to adjust to the style? I imagine it must have been quite a culture shock and just as far as the work is concerned as well.
Actually, no, I just kind of have always gone with the flow. You don't need to talk in order to wrestle, and there's only a few things that are actually different. They do a lot more high flying, but I'm usually the catcher anyway. So if somebody's flying at me, I'm gonna catch them. But I just adjust quickly. It's just how I was trained. I wasn't trained by calling spots. My trainer never called spots. He just kind of went in there and kicked my butt and made me do whatever. And I just went with the flow and went off body language. I don't go into a match and you can ask any wrestler. I do not go into a match and talk. The only people I am talking to, and I'm running them out there as fans. You can probably pull up any one of my videos, and if you see me talking, it's usually to the fans.
Fair enough. I was just wondering with regards to working on the other side of the body and stuff like that. Was that just easy enough to adjust to then?
Well, actually, they kind of will work any part of the body that they want to, the left, the right. It doesn't really matter to them as long as they continue to work that same body part. Some of those girls have been to Japan, which they work the right and the left. In Mexico, they work the right. But usually it's only a couple things that actually vary or different from, their arm drags are the only thing, which they call suplexes, are the only thing that are on the other side. But if somebody grabs my right arm or my left arm and throws me, either way you're going. You'd really have no say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough.
So it's just kind of, that's really basically it, is their arm drags, and a lot of their moves are all on the same side. The way you pick up somebody is the same way, universal. Fair
enough. And when you went down there, did they give you an idea of what they expected of you then as a performer? Did they tell you that they wanted you to just do what you do, or did they tell you that they wanted you to learn a more lucha style or anything like that?
Well, actually, Conan is the one that brought me down, and Conan told me what he expected me, and it was usually night-by-night basis. At TV, he would say, hey, come over and be like, hey, I want you to come in on my match here, and do this, or I want you to get this point across, or I want you to work the crowd extra hard tonight, or I want you to be extra mean in the match tonight. He's like, turn it up even more. And that's really all he told me. He was like, hey, sex it up a little bit more for the Mexican fans. And I'm like, no problem. Other than that, I just took the training upon myself. I went to the Lucha Libre gymnasios myself, the Latino Americano gymnasio, which Gran Apache is the trainer at. And I took it upon myself to go all the time, taking taxis or having Sexi Star. She would take me a lot, and I would train with her a lot there. And all the other Mexicans, I just took it upon myself to do it. I've been wrestling 10 years, but you can never stop learning. There's so much knowledge everywhere. It's absolutely ridiculous. So why wouldn't you take the opportunity to go? You know what I mean? I don't really speak the language that well. I mean, I know enough to get by, but I do what I got to do to get around and take the training upon myself. I mean, I've always kind of been that way.
I suppose you were lucky enough as well in that for most of your time down there, you always had, you usually had Jennifer Blake as a partner as well. You guys have been working as Las Gringas Locas. What are your thoughts? I mean, you've been known quite predominantly, I think, for quite a bit. Your career as a tag team wrestler, you're quite famous for, some of your tag teams. How's Jen Blake as a tag partner?
She's kind of a newer girl, so she's starting to learn the ropes a little bit. I mean, she wasn't really in that many tag, matches before I got to her. She's picking it up a little bit here and there. I mean, she's got a lot of learning to do. Obviously, she's only been wrestling, going on 3 years. That's not a long time. So, she's learning. She's learning as she goes. It takes time. It takes time to develop your character, and it takes time to develop yourself as a wrestler. But she's learning. I've been doing tag teaming for a really long time. And, Lacey and I, Minnesota Home Wrecking Crew, to Jetta Lacey and I, International Home Wrecking Crew, to Jetta and I, the International Home Wrecking Crew, now to Jen Blake. I mean, Nikki Rocks and I at WSU, and, so on, the list goes on.
Well, all things which we're going to be mentioning over the course of this interview as well, so we will get to a lot of your tag teaming stuff back in America. But as far as being in Mexico, you really seem to immerse yourself into the culture, and you really from the looks of it, it looked like that you really wanted to make Mexico your home while you were working there.
Well, while I'm working there, I mean, I got to do what I got to do. I got to adapt. I got to, I got to learn the language. You got to take it all, and you have to absorb it and be able to work in that crowd down there is completely different. They don't speak our language. We have to learn to speak their language. And if not, they're like, what did they say? I mean, maybe not just said to us, They hear blah, 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 and then maybe USA, and they're like, USA, But, they don't know what we're saying, so you have to adapt in every single way. You have to learn the language. I mean, I've learned enough of their language in order to work the crowd to make them hate me even more. I mean, I've gone in and done press. I've gone in and cut interviews and TV. Usually have a translator with me when I go to TVs and do interviews and stuff like that. But I've learned enough of the language so I can actually, cut a decent promo on the house shows. I've learned enough to tell them on the interview what I think about them. I've done what I've done my research. I've, studied as much as I can and taken in what I can when I can, learning their style. I mean, you got to study. You got to study in everything you do. I mean, you can't go to school and get straight A's without studying, right? Same thing in wrestling. You got to study in, different ways. Physically study. You got to mentally study. I mean, it's a total package. Wrestling's just as hard as going to school.
That's a fair point. That's actually an interesting thing because I was just going to mention, I mean, I think most of your matches when you were down there, or I know you've worked with pretty much everybody from minis to all sorts, but a lot of your matches were against the Apaches, Fabi and Mari Apache and Cynthia Moreno as well. Did you feel that they helped you, or did you feel that they saw you as an outsider? I mean, I'm asking you because we had Sarah Del Rey on the show last time, and she said that when she was in Mexico, some of the girls helped her, some of the girls absolutely didn't. What did you find as far as the local girls down there? Did they help you or not?
I mean, well, I don't really think that you get helped in any way. I mean, the only way that they can help you is helping you out by the language. The only girl that really has helped me out down there, I mean, in every single form, is Sexi Star. She's the only girl that really helped me out from anything from taking me to the gym, to taking me to training, to, helping me find good places to eat, to helping me with language. She's my little Spanish teacher down there, and I'm her little English teacher. I mean, we help each other out as much as absolutely possible. I mean, she helped me out getting prepared for, Triple Mania. You're in the States and you know exactly where to go to get your hair extensions, get your makeup, to get your nails done, to get this and to get that, because you got to look like a star, especially for the biggest show of the year. I mean, you can't show up in, a AAA t-shirt and some torn jeans. You've got to show up in a dress and, heels, and it's the biggest show of the year. So from top to bottom, you got to be a star. And she had really helped me out, find everything that I need the whole time I was there, the last 2 months. If she wasn't there, I wouldn't have known what to do. Let's see. As the wrestling goes, like I said, you don't need to talk in order to have a match, and that's just kind of how it goes. You go in and you wrestle, and you do what you have to do. So you just kind of, you take what you want to take, and if somebody's picking you up and throwing you around, and you get picked up and you get thrown around, you just can't stop it at that time. If you do, you might get hurt severely. So you just kind of go with the flow. I mean, Fabi has been great to work with. Mari has been great to work with. I mean, they're great wrestlers. Cynthia's great. But, we're all hard-hitting musicians in there at that time to, I can respect them as athletes, but I go in there to do my job at that time, and that's what I'm getting paid there, getting paid to do. So I go there and do my job.
Yeah, that's fine. I was going to say, I mean, the Apaches have got a bit of a rep as well. Again, you've been in there with them, I haven't, but they've got a bit of a rep for working quite stiff as well. I mean, was this pretty much the hardest you've had to work as far as your career is concerned so far, or maybe have you been hit harder than the Apaches do?
Yeah, they don't really necessarily throw strikes with, like, their arms. I mean, Mari does. It's usually a lot of kicks.
Yeah.
But I've been hit plenty hard by Mickey Knuckles. I mean, I wrestled that girl for many, many, many years, and I would say she's the hardest hitting girl I have ever wrestled. Like, somebody that hit me now, I'm like, whoa, stars, blacking out. Oh, this is not good. But I hit her back just as hard. I mean, I may be little, but these little bony little forearms, they hurt when they hit you. So, I mean, I can throw and hang it just like anybody else. I mean, they may be bigger, but that doesn't mean that another one of the strongest girls I've ever wrestled, tiny, 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 but she hits so ridiculously hard, and everything she does hurts, is Daisy Hayes. She's the smallest little thing. She's so cute and tiny, but, man, I would say she's up there with Mickey Knuckles with her strikes. Wow. And those bony little forearms, they kill. And she is absolutely ripped to shreds. I mean, she has that much muscle, and I don't even know how much body. Her fat percentage on her body is absolutely ridiculously low. So, I mean, that little girl, she's tiny, but she's like dynamite. She is too hard.
Yeah, we've checked it out, and Daisy's body weight is actually now -4%.
Oh, so not, see, exactly. I mean, she, like I said, she's like dynamite. It just, pow, it hits you. You don't have to be the biggest, meanest-looking person in order to hit you super hard. I mean, I also work with Kong, and she hits really hard. Everybody. And then mostly everybody hits, like, super hard. I mean, you get in there with some old-school chicks, and they're going to beat the crap out of you. They're going to stretch you. They're going to bend you in ways that you're not supposed to. Your body's not supposed to bend before it breaks. So, I mean, there's I don't know. I wouldn't say anybody hits light. It also hurts.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
You get hit in the jaw every day, and it doesn't feel good. You just get a higher pain tolerance.
Wow. All right, let me ask you then, now, as far as your AAA career is concerned, it's been about a year, and I guess your contract has expired according to Dorian Roldan's Twitter a couple of weeks ago. What's your current situation with AAA?
I've never had number one, I've never had a contract.
Oh, okay, right, fair enough. I thought maybe you had a year contract.
And no, nothing's expired. What they do is they bring 2 Americans in at once, and Christina Von Airy is down there right now. And she wasn't going down when she was supposed to go down because I was there for 2 months. Even though they say, you're coming, you're not coming until one of the Americans leave and there's another spot. They're not going to pay for more than 2 American girls at once.
I see. All right. I guess I'm saying there was
so
something.
Then either her or Jen Blake goes home, then I go back. There's no contract. Nobody's signed.
Fair enough.
I mean, the big guys are signed, like Ellie Park, obviously, La Parka, obviously. The big stars are all signed. But most of those girls don't even have contracts. Most of the guys don't have contracts.
Fair enough. But as far as you're concerned, you're waiting and you'll go back down there whenever the opportunity arises, and everything's still cool with you in AAA, yeah?
Exactly. I have Conan all the time. There's something in Super Luchas that said I was an ex-AAA star, but I contacted, as soon as I read that, as soon as somebody sent me that link, I contacted Conan. I was like, hey, what's the deal? Am I in or out? And he was like, no, you're in. You just gotta wait, until we have a spot right now. They don't want to pay for more than one. Everybody has a budget.
That's all right.
So
yeah.
They don't want to pay for more than 2 girls at once. They have a whole bunch of girls down there as it is, so they don't want to have all these American girls coming in and in and in. Then that's too many mouths to feed. So they're going to just bring in 2 at once. As soon as one goes home, I'm back in. And I said, hey, if I'm not in anymore, let me know, and then I can work other places. But, hey, AAA pays me, and gives me enough work that if they don't want me there, then I'll go work for other companies, which do want me. But if they're going to, they give me a lot of work, so I'm not going to disrespect them as a company. It's all business. I'm not going to disrespect them as a company and go work for other companies in Mexico well, they're the ones that give me the most dates. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. That's fine. I mean, it's good just
so
to
now if you start seeing me going to work for CMLL or you see me down there working for other companies being through them, then you know I'm not working for AAA anymore.
That's fair enough. It's good to get you on the record as far as that's concerned, because obviously, you know, you hear stories and people said that, oh, Christina Von Eerie come in and replaced you, which, you know, gives the impression that you're finished up. But it's good to know. It's good to know.
And there's tons of rumors. Like I said, I emailed Conan right away, and then he got right back to me. He's like, no, don't worry. He's like, it's not like that. And, you know, when she was down there with me, Jen wasn't there, right?
Yeah, no, I know Christina was down there for a while as well, and that was when Jen wasn't there, yeah?
Yep, and she was down there with me. And then I went home, and Christina, we both went home. And then I came back, and then Jen came back. And then I left, and now Christina's back. So, you know, if Jen goes home or Christina goes home, which I think Christina's going home first because she's got to go back to her normal life, too.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, I don't want to be getting down there more than 2 months at a time, you know. I've got a life up here as well, so I got to maintain this, and I've got to maintain that, and I've got, you know, friends and family here too. So I can't just up and live in Mexico without a contract.
Yeah.
You give me a contract, then I'll think about it.
How did you find it down there as far as your personal safety was concerned? There have been a few stories recently about how, you know, AAA and other wrestling promotions as well have been having some issues with some of the drug cartels, you know, and protection money and things like that. And a lot of people talk about how dangerous it can be, especially for foreigners down there. Did you ever feel scared for your own personal safety while you were down there?
You know, I kind of live life day by day, and if something happens, you know, either it's meant to be or it's going to happen regardless. There's not much I can do about it, but I protect myself in certain ways. I don't go out at night. You know, they don't want me going out at night. They tell me, don't go out at night alone. You know, if you do, then go out with somebody else. Usually I'm out with Sexi most of the time. And, you know, she drives me from point A to point B. I mean, she takes me straight where I need to go. When you're on the AAA bus, you're being taken care of by the bus driver, by the agents, and by all the men that are there with you. If you're flying, you know, you're usually flying in a group. So they're never just leave us alone. And if we're on the road, you know, we got people taking care of us on the road. If they're jumping from bus to bus to bus to get back to what city we need to, they're there to help us. I mean, they're not just going to leave us there because what if something happens to us? You know what I mean? They're just going to look bad in the company, you know. Oh, AAA lost 2, you know, foreigners. That's not going to look good on them. They're going to do whatever they can to take care of us. Yeah. And they take great care of us when we're there. Or, I mean, I'm sure they take great care of Christina and Jennifer, and they take great care of me. And Conan was around. Conan was taking care of me while I was there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I felt fine. I felt safe. I mean, there was a lot of shows canceled. That's the only thing that sucks about it. But they can't help that. That's not their fault.
Yeah, that's all right. That's
if you go to a city and the police won't let you in, the police won't let you in, you can't get in. So police are like, hey, stop. You know, you can't come in the city because they'll actually shut down the whole city. They won't let you in.
Wow.
So then you kind of get blocked from going in, so that's good. At least that part's really good.
Yeah, it's good to get you here to talk to you about things, because there are various bits of rumours and misinformation and stuff that fly around on the internet and wherever. That's always the way it's going to be. And I know that your friend Sexi Star had a bit of an issue this last week or so with Super Luchadora magazine, and there's a bit of a discussion or a bit of an argument between her and them about reports that they were trying to make that she was trying out for WWE. Is there anything you want to talk to us about with regards to that?
Oh, well, she did fly in. She had a tryout with WWE. That's not false at all. I took her there every single day. The only thing that's false about it is that I did the tryout with her.
Ah.
That's completely false. I didn't go. I wasn't invited to, you know, take part in that. I'm not going to pay the $1,000 to do the tryout. But I also wasn't invited, which some people are invited and some people pay. Well, most of the people pay, and then you got some people that are invited, you know, that are wrestlers that they've been interested in for a while. And I wasn't invited, and I wasn't going to pay, so I did not do that tryout. I think it's funny that I was there on a daily basis, but I did not go in. I know a couple of wrestlers that I would see in and out, and I would say hi to them, and they'd tell me, you know, how it's going so far, and you know, that's really about it. She went in, she did the tryout. I took her every day. It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday is what they did.
And I mean, again, it's probably none of our business, but can you tell us how it went? Did she think she did well?
Well, like I said, I wasn't actually in there, but from what she said that the wrestling went really well. She said that she wrestled Nikki. Nikki's from California. Can't remember what she wrestles as. In Wrestlicious, she's Tony the Top.
Oh, okay.
At California, I can't remember, something Nikki, or I can't remember. But yeah, she was there. Also, SHIMMER was there, and another girl that I've never seen on the Indies was there, but she was very pleasant to me when I met her at the show when I took Sexi to the show.
Yeah, there were quite a few girls tried out as far as we could see. There were a couple of the girls from England actually tried it as well, Team Blossom, and I think
No, that's false. That's false. There's a picture online of me, Josie, the Blossoms, Sexi Star, Lexi Fife, who's not. If that was a trial picture, is Lexi Fife really going to try out at WWE?
Fair enough, unless they want Hillary Clinton back.
Yeah. I mean, she'll go and she'll work for it. She's not going to pay $1,000 to go try out.
No,
so that picture, if you were to really break it down, obviously that's not FCW training crew. We went to boot camp that day and trained with Lexi Fife's trainer, Tony, who kicked the crap out of every single one of us outside. We're lifting and flipping tires. We're running around. We're doing sprints. We're, doing push-ups. We're doing tons of squats. We're doing jump squats. We got weighted things. We got these giant ropes that we have to throw around. I mean, we were doing tons of stuff. And right outside there is a smoothie junction. We all went and got smoothies afterwards because your body needs protein within 45 minutes of your working out. And if we're dying, we need something to eat now. And cold is the best. So we went outside the smoothie junction and we all took a picture together. And Sexy posted that on her Twitter, and that became the FCW training. That's why people think that I did it. That's why people think the Blossoms did it. That's why people think Josie did it. The only ones that did it on that group was Sexy and SHIMMER. So that's not taken from the school.
Okay, that's cool. No, that's
more. But they were down. They were down wrestling that weekend. The Blossoms were. Yeah, they were definitely down doing stuff that weekend, and they were also doing promos for Wrestlicious.
Oh, really?
Oh, were they?
And so we showed. Yeah. So they were doing other things while they were down here, but they were not doing FCW trials. They did not pay to go to trials.
There you go. Okay. Well, again, that's good to know. We go to the sources.
Maybe they'll feel that they need a little bit more experience before going. I know that they, sometimes you need a little bit more money if you're not invited. Sometimes you need, you just feel that you're not ready yet. So, and Josie's really taking them under her wing and helping them out a lot. So she's probably like, girls, you're not ready yet. She's like, maybe next year. I don't know what she's saying to them, but she's probably telling them maybe next year. Maybe she's working on getting them ready. She probably is. I would say, knowing Josie and myself, I would say that she's going to set them up for, like, the next year of really hard training. And, there's not just the wrestling aspect that you need to do. You got to look like a hot mama when you go. I mean, you can't, you got to be able to do it up. You got to be able to do the makeup. You got to be able to do the hair. You got to, be able to push up your boobs. I mean, they want to see all of that. So they want to be able to see you wrestle, but they also want to see you, and they want to see you be able to cut promos, but they want to see you looking like a diva. What do they hire? Divas, right?
Exactly.
So you got to be able to do it all. So maybe they need about another year, and I'm sure Josie's going to keep coaching them, and, they're really sweet girls, love them to death. Josie's doing wonders with them.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, the Women of Wrestling podcast. We go right to the sources. We get the information for you. We'll cut out all the rumors. We'll give you just the facts.
Exactly.
Good. All right then. Well, as far as national TV is concerned, you were most recently on national TV in the US. You just mentioned them as well, with Wrestlicious. Now,
yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I wasn't a huge fan of Wrestlicious. I didn't find it all that fun. But I did watch some of it, and you were, as far as I was concerned, the most entertaining person of the lot with your character of FELONY. You seem to have had an awful lot of fun playing that character. I assume that was the case.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun playing FELONY. I mean, I kind of got to pick between a couple of characters. They're like, hey, do you want to be FELONY? And I'm like, you know what? I'd like to be FELONY. That would be fun. You get to run away from your cops. They just kind of let me go and do what I want to do and improvise and just kind of have fun with it. And when you have fun with a character, that's usually when you do your best.
That's pretty much what we hear from everybody as far as Wrestlicious is concerned. Everybody just really thought it was a good time to get together, have some fun, play some different characters, and But were you involved in the last tapings then that they did? Did they do a set of tapings in Florida? Is that right?
Yeah, they did a taping. Actually, it was at the First Avenue in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I was supposed to be a part of it, but I got shut down in Mexico, and they even had my passport, getting me a visa, so I could not actually leave the country. And they knew that I was down there. I called them. I let them know, but they did throw me in a couple of sections, even though I wasn't there. So if you watch, you'll see it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's not, it's not like TNA, it's not like Shimmer, it's completely different. It's more of a comedy show with some wrestling mixed in with it. You know what I mean? It's like Glow. It's like a more modern Glow. It's like Glow with better wrestling.
Stu was saying that he wasn't the biggest fan of Wrestlicious, but I was sort of in two minds about the whole thing, because I like the wrestling. I thought the wrestling was really good on it, especially from people like yourself. I thought your match with Glory, I think, was probably the best match of the show so far. But for the comedy I didn't care for so much, but I thought the wrestling was really good.
Well, thank you very much. I tried. I mean, there's some actresses some actresses that are on there that just learned how to wrestle like a couple weeks before that. They're learning. So, and you put the new girls in there, obviously you're going to get some mixed, you know what I mean? And then there's some pros that are on there that are really good. So they were able to, make other parts of that shine more. And Lori and I, we've never, ever wrestled. That was our very first match ever. So, I mean, I'd like to actually wrestle her again somewhere else.
Well, considering how long you guys have been wrestling for, it seems quite surprising that that's the first time you've ever met up in the ring.
I know. Tell me about it. I always wanted to wrestle her. She's an awesome wrestler. I mean, definitely love to wrestle again, maybe for like WSU or something. And maybe I Wrestlicious again, because I know that they're working on their second season. So.
Well, I was going to say, you back for the second season?
Back going. Yeah, definitely. I'm here, and if they run another show, besides the stuff that they filmed when I wasn't there, I'm here to film now, and got some other things in progress. Can't really talk about yet, but there's some things going on, and TNA started out really small, and it takes time for anything to get going. I mean, even anything on TV. I mean, even a reality show, it takes time. So that's what they're working on. They're putting time, they're putting energy, and they're putting money into it, and hopefully it'll get going. I mean, for all these girls that are in it too.
Just to go on a tangent there, you just mentioned that there's a few things you got in the pipeline which you can't really talk about yet. Is there any hint about what's going on?
No, I can't. Confidentiality.
Oh, just a morsel.
Sorry. I'm an honest person, but if I find something that I can't talk about it, that's all I can say.
So when do you reckon we'll be finding out about what all this is?
I would say between 3 and 6 months. That's usually about how long it takes to get it going.
Interesting.
Keep watching out. Keep looking out.
So around Christmas then?
Maybe around Christmas.
Awesome.
I love the way you keep pushing this. All right, let's move on though. Let's talk about another time where you were on national TV in America, and that was during your run with TNA, when you were Robert Roode's biggest fan, Miss Payton Banks. How did that all come about?
Yeah.
How did you get into TNA that first time?
Well, I moved down to Florida to try to make it on TV somehow, to pursue wrestling harder, because when I was up in Minnesota, number one, it's really expensive to fly out of Minnesota, so a lot of promoters don't want to fly you out. I ended up driving a lot of places, and eventually after years, people getting to know you, they fly you in. But once you really try hard and, uproot yourself and move somewhere for something, sometimes, you got to try. So that's what I was. I was like, I'm going to try. So I moved, and I switched my schools, and I went to school in Orlando, but I lived in Tampa, so I was commuting, 3 hours every day just for school. And whenever there was a TNA taping, I would call Tracy Hill, and I'd be like, hey, can I come by? And sometimes it'd be straight from school, and sometimes I'd be able to go before school. And all I did was keep going and be in the right place at the right time. Sometimes they do a job. They flew in somebody that, they didn't really like for the role because they thought she was too young. And they were just like, well, that's not what we're going for that character. We need somebody a little bit older looking, like not older, but, not 12 years old. And So they called me actually from school and said, hey, can you get here soon? And I was like, yeah, give me a second. So I was like, hey, teacher, I kind of got to go for something. And he was like, yeah, no problem. And, you know, because I told him, I was like, well, I would really like to be able to do this while I'm doing school. So, like, I might be able to have to leave a couple times early here and there, you know, to go to TV so I can talk to people and, you know, get, you know, see the girls and get my name in there. So that's what I did. And I got called in and I got shoved right to hair and makeup, right from hair and makeup right to the audience. So from then on is how I got in there.
The run itself was fairly brief. That's the strange thing about it. You only really had a couple of pay-per-view matches. You had one with Tracy Brooks against all odds, and you had the intergender match in Lockdown.
It was about 10 months, though.
Was it from start to finish?
It was about 10 months. It was about 10 months. I was stalking for a little bit.
I suppose that's true, yeah. Once you actually started coming...
And then I did a lot of TVs. I did a lot of TVs and only a couple of pay-per-views. I'd say about 3 pay-per-views because I managed on one.
Yeah.
I wrestled Tracy on one. And then I wrestled Charmel on the last one. The last pay-per-view. But I did TV right before that, yeah. It's almost a year.
And then after that, your character was essentially, the story was told, the character was dropped, and then what? Were you just told that they had nothing for you?
The character wasn't needed anymore. For what she was brought in for, it just wasn't needed anymore. So at that time, like, it was perfect timing for me because I had been through many years of school before moving down there, and that was coming up, which I also told Dutch. I was like, hey, I have a 3-month internship. If I didn't do my 3-month internship, I would never have graduated from college. Uh-huh. And at the exact same time, my territory was being dropped, and they knew that was coming up. They were just like, okay, well, when you're ready, come back and we'll repackage you. But, you know, I had to go, and I had to do that from Monday through Friday from 9 to 7 at night. There's no possible way I could go to Mondays, Tuesdays, and sometimes Wednesdays to TV and tape. I mean, it's just impossible because otherwise I wouldn't graduate. And education is very, very, very important. In wrestling or not, education is very, very important.
Absolutely. I mean, have you asked then since that?
And by the time I was done with my education and, you know, my internship and all that, I went back to TV and they had so many girls. So you just, you know, wrong time. Not the right time at that time. Too many girls, you know, they're not just going to throw on another girl and say, okay, well, what are we going to do with you now? We got this girl doing this and this girl doing that. So they did. They had a lot of girls at the time that they came back. That everybody from Chantel to, you know, everybody. There's so many girls.
Yeah.
They've got fewer girls now. Are you still calling them up now and asking if they've got any spots?
Well, I just got back from Mexico, so maybe we'll see.
Get on the phone.
See. I always try randomly here and there. I got some things going on in August, so I don't really have time. August is kind of a busy month for me, so on personal level, I usually take August pretty much off. Obviously, Jetta comes over, and we all go back up to Minnesota, so I'm at least there for at least a good week and a half. And then Nikki Rock and I have some things coming up very soon, so we're doing some personal things, so we're going to be very, very busy. This weekend coming up is the only weekend I really have off for the rest till at least September 6th.
Wow. Well, at least it's better to be busy than not, eh?
Yeah, you know, sometimes you need that personal time. I mean, my life has been consumed by wrestling for the last year, right?
Yeah.
So you need a little bit of time to go home, see family, see friends. I mean, Jetta only comes over once or twice a year. So that's one of my best friends there. Got to see her.
You know, the interesting thing as well is, you know, come September, if you are still interested and you're making some calls to TNA, they have a talent agreement with AAA as well. So, you know, it might be a case where you'd be able to work both.
Maybe. That's a possibility.
You see.
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see if I make some phone calls, and we'll see.
Yeah.
I never like to jinx anything, so.
No, of course. What about Shimmer coming up as well now? They've got a taping coming up in September. Any word of you returning to Shimmer? I know you've been busy for the last year with your lucha stuff. Could we see
Actually, I've had some differences with Shimmer, so I won't be returning to Shimmer.
Okay, all right. So Shimmer's out, but you still got WSU as as a big indie that you're working in the States as well for people who want to see you in the Northeast. How's your time in WSU treating you at the minute?
I love working for WSU. I mean, I get to go up there, I get to have really good matches, I get to work people I've never worked before. I get to do a lot when I am there. I mean, if you haven't seen the DVDs, I'm usually all over the DVDs, especially with my crew, my army I got there. I mean, I got everybody from Nikki Rocks to I even Lacey sometimes now. I mean, I got a little bit of everybody. I got a little bad guy here, a little bad guy there. We'll see what's going on. I mean, I love working up there. They kind of let me do what I do.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I can't wait to see you at a match in June with Amazing Kong at their big Uncensored
That was actually the first time I've ever worked Kong as well, too. So.
And how was that?
She's a lot bigger than me. If you're in there, she's scarier.
Enough said.
I mean, good thing I had Lacey in my corner. That's all I gotta say. You'll see.
All right. Now I'm looking forward to seeing that one. That should be fun. And what else have you got coming up as far as any indies? I know you said you're busy up until September. What else have you got coming up as far as wrestling appearances for people to come and see you?
Well, I have a few things that I'm going back and forth on. So maybe something September 18th. Haven't confirmed that yet. Something at the beginning of September. Haven't confirmed that yet. Definitely am booked for Cinemania, which is up in Philly, and that is September 25th. Conan and I will be there. Mm-hmm. But anything with Mexico, I am telling you, you will get your flight the day before or the day of. You don't even know when you're going. They give you an estimate time frame, and then they'll call you up like the day before. I legit had a phone call at 11:30 at night, and they were like, their flight's tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. That was for a month when I was there. I was like, what?
Wow.
I was just stressed. I mean, you have to be a very patient person in order to deal with a schedule like that. So anything with Mexico, you don't know when it's going to happen. It could happen tomorrow. The only thing I have to tell them is I can't do anything until September 7th, technically, and I have to be back for the 25th. So
fair enough.
That's really all I can tell them right now, because I have a lot of things that are, hey, you want to do this show? And, you know, it takes time going back and forth talking about my price and, okay, where do you want to stay? Sometimes I come in early and I train people that are usually close to me or recommended me by other friends, and they're like, hey, this person needs some help. They want to be trained. We help them out. I have somebody I go up for. His name's Mark. He actually helps run Cinemania. I've helped him lose 179 pounds in a year, and he's even more now. He's only 10 pounds away from his goal. So I go up there. I always stay for an extra week when I'm there, and I train him for a full week, and sometimes I'll have some other people join in. We do like a boot camp. So I'll help him with his diet, and I help train him, and I do a little bit of everything when I'm on the road. So I wrestle, do signings, I help train people, I help kids' diets, I help them, and I train them in yoga. You know, everybody needs different things, and I'm well-rounded, so I can help a lot of people.
Yoga. This is what I didn't know that you did yoga, but this is what I wanted to ask you about. Now, I have signed up to do 10 sessions of Bikram yoga.
I love Bikram.
Tell me about this, because I've got people saying, "Oh my God, you're probably going to die." Now, is this the case? Because I don't know anything about it.
Okay, let me tell you first. Out of all the yoga classes, the men go to the Bikram. You will see very little men in all the other classes. You will see more men in the Bikram, because it's like they love it more. You sweat a lot. You know, guys like things that you get, you know, you have hands on, you get sweaty, and you know you're doing work. I mean, some of the girls like the other classes because it's a little bit lighter. Everyone's different. I mean, vinyasa is completely different from Ashtanga. So, I mean, you get all different levels. The Bikram is, I would say, the hardest. I like to take it better at night, because afterwards you've been hydrating yourself for the whole day. You do it at night. You sweat a lot. You get a great workout in. You hydrate yourself some more. You take, especially your first time, take like a couple of Tylenol before and after, because you're sweating so much that your body's not used to it. So you're gonna get one of those dehydrated headaches.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to this.
So, well, that's why I'm telling you to take the Tylenol before and after the first time. I would suggest to do it at night because you get to hydrate yourself during the day, do it at night. If you're doing it during the day, wake up, drink a ton of water, take, some Tylenol. I hated doing it in the morning because I would never drink enough water in the morning. Before I did the class, I would be dehydrated and get a terrible dehydrated headache. So make sure you take some Tylenol before, you take some Tylenol after, you drink plenty of water. And that next day, you will be, super ripped, and you will look awesome, and you'll feel fantastic. Your joints and everything just feel so great.
Stu, I have to tell you about this. The Bikram yoga is done in a studio that is 104 degrees because they say your muscles work better at that temperature.
What?
Yes. True.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, I'm probably going to die at some point. So this might be the last Women of Wrestling podcast that I ever take part in. But, Rain, thanks for the warning. I appreciate that.
Just stay hydrated and take a couple Tylenol or leave or something before and after. You'll be fine. You will feel so good that next day. After the workout, you're going to be like, oh. But the second time you do it, you'll leave with a yoga high, a really good yoga high. It's good. And then you will see the difference the next day. I mean, if I had a Bikram so close to me, I moved instead of Tampa, to Brandon. So I live probably a good 45 minutes from my old studio, so I can't just get up and go really easy. It's a drive and a half, so that's an hour and a half driving that I don't need.
Seeing this is going to be probably my last podcast ever.
Day, then I will.
So I was just going to say, seeing this is my last podcast ever, I think there's a few things I wanted to just check out with you before I sign off and go into an early grave. The thing that I first spotted you in, as far as if we get back to wrestling for a second, is you when you were part of the Minnesota Home Wrecking Crew. I mean, we talked about it a little bit at the start as well, but. I know that started in IWA Mid-South, but can you talk to us a little bit about how that came about?
Well, it came about, actually, Dave Prazak actually gave us the idea because we had wrestled each other so much that I don't think that there's anything that you can get out of us anymore. And everybody knew that we're best friends. I mean, come on. Everybody saw us drive together. We'd go out there and we'd kick the crap out of each other, obviously. But, everybody knew we're best friends. So everybody's like, why don't you guys just team together and do something different? So we're like, yeah, why not? And then Dave was like, well, you have to come from Minnesota. What about the Minnesota Wrecking Crew? But instead, the girl version of the Minnesota Home Wrecking Crew. And we're like, we love it. So we started doing it at IWA Mid-South, and it just took off from there. I mean, we've done it at a few different places besides Shimmer, but we had a great time until, Lacey retired. But sometimes she comes out and manages me. She doesn't want to wrestle anymore. She doesn't, she's got a lot going on in her life as well. I mean, we're both back in school doing different things, and, we got to stay busy, and she just doesn't want to hurt her body anymore. So, give her props being able to quit like that. It's hard.
There's one thing I've noted about the girls that when they sort of decide, Jetta was the same. When they decide that that's it. They've always got something else that they move on to. They almost feel like it's that's that part of my life. That's that chapter done. I'm going to go on and do something else. Like you're saying, Lacey's going on and doing school. I know other people who've joined the army, who've gone travelling. It seems like they're able to put that to one side and move on and not sort of yearn and pine for it.
Yeah, well, you have to have something else to do. I mean, we're people that are motivated. That we have a drive, but we always have to do something. And the wrestling usually fills that void. And even myself, I mean, I wrestle all the time, but I still feel like I have to do some other things, and I like to help people. So, I'm taking a course, on the 19th weekend, the whole weekend. Nikki Rocks and I are going up and taking this personal training course and this yoga course. We can actually get certified in it. And, I mean, I've been doing it for so long, but, it's good to have that paperwork behind you. You don't necessarily need it. But, if you want to start your own little business, why not? I get to stay busy, and hey, if that takes wrestling away from me, it might eventually someday. I don't know. What if this takes my life? What if it consumes my life so much that, I am forced to give up wrestling? And that may happen, but right now, I'm not ready to give it up. I mean, I'm not going to be 40 years old and still wrestling. I don't want to be that old, and I don't want to be that old wrestler. I still want to look good while I go out. You know what I mean? I don't want to be 60, 70 years old and still wrestling. Unless I'm making, like, Vince money. Then maybe, randomly. But I'm not, so...
When Lacey sort of decided that she was going to step to one side and she wasn't going to be wrestling as much, did that sort of put you in a bit of maybe a tough situation as far as, like you say, she's your best friend, and did that sort of put you in a situation where you're thinking, what do I do next?
No, not at all, because Jen stepped in there with my tag partner, so I had another tag partner if I needed, someone to tag with. I've already been working a lot of different companies as singles wrestler for a really long time. I mean, my whole career has been a singles wrestler and then randomly tag wrestler here and there. And so Lacey's decision, whatever she wants to do, I'll support her and vice versa. And now Jetta's done too, and whatever Jetta wants to do, I'll support 100%. I mean, we're like the three amigos. You will not separate us ever. So whatever any of us wanted to do, we're 100% there behind each other's backs, supporting each other. So no, it didn't put me in a tough situation at all.
One thing I did notice, where the difference between Rain in the Minnesota Home Wrecking Crew and then Rain in the International Home Wrecking Crew, almost like your character evolved from me being very, 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 very serious and very, very tough and very, very aggressive to almost getting a sort of a comedic, sort of goofy style-y character, much like Jetta sort of had. It's almost like you were sort of like the perfect sort of partner for Lacey in the Minnesota Home Wrecking Crew, and then you're almost got on the same comedy level as Jetta. Which of those is probably more the real Rain?
I would say a mixture of both of them. I mean, different times call for different things. I mean, even Jetta would be randomly serious here and there, and even on the last matches that we did together, I mean, she even threw in a T-bone suplex, and I was like, oh my God, you are wrestling, and every time, is different. It depends on what's on the line, and if you're just going out there just to have, like, a fun match. I mean, Jetta and I love teaming together, and it was fun. So why not just have fun? In wrestling, you got to change it up, and, you've got to do different things, and sometimes comedy is fun, and I like comedy. And there's times to be serious, and you got to be serious at those times. But teaming with Jetta was just so much fun that we couldn't hide it. We just had fun.
Where did all of those ideas come from, then?
More ridiculous. That's her and I together in real life. That is her and I together in real life. We're absolutely ridiculous. If you could have somebody follow us with a video camera, you would pee yourself. You'd piss yourself all the time.
I think we need to see this.
The week of the 27th to the 6th is going to be absolutely ridiculous. I mean, if you check out, I think I have some MySpace pictures up, and probably not that many, but I'll throw some extra ones up for you, just so you can see.
Brilliant.
But I'll try. Okay, I promise I will try. I promise I will try to go get my own video camera and to take some videos, even if it's just off my little camera, and take some videos of our week, and I will post them online. I promise.
That's a promise now.
Yeah, you can't go back
on
that.
It's a promise I'll try. It's a promise I'll try.
Okay. Let me ask you a question, going back to the start.
That is definitely Jetta and I in person. Okay, what is that?
I was going to say, going back to the start of the Home Wrecking Crew with you and Lacey, was it your idea, or was it her idea, or whose idea was it originally to start grabbing the dollar bills from the guys around the ringside IWA Mid-South?
Actually, that was mine. And it was mine before Lacey and I were together.
Oh, okay.
It started out at IWA Mid-South when I was still wrestling Lacey. And I think on commentary, they called me hotter than a toaster. And from that time on, they would call me the dollar whore. Well, actually it started in Minnesota at the Target Center. It was the very first time this had ever happened. I think it was at the Target Center. And two guys held up $20 bills. And I think they called me a stripper or something. I went over there. I was like, oh, do you want to see what I do for those $20 bills? And they were like, yeah. So I snatched those $20 bills out. I put them in my bra, and I said, thank you, and I walked away. Well, eventually, it started to catch on. At Steel Domain, this started at Steel Domain Wrestling. At Steel Domain Wrestling, there's more dollar bills. The 10s and 20s went away very fast. As soon as they saw me not give them back, they went away very fast. And so everybody had dollar bills outside run, and some people would make me jump for it, and they thought it was funny, and I would steal the dollar bills out of their hands. It's more crowd interaction. People loved it. And then they would call me the dollar whore, and I would shove every one of those into my bra. And if I couldn't, I would make the referees hold on to my money. And seriously, I had between $20 and $40 easily extra that night. Some people would be like, give it back. I'd be like, well, just take it out of your wallet. You think I'm going to give it back? And then it went from there all the way down to Illinois. People in Illinois were doing it. So they must have seen, like, tapes or DVDs back then. And people in Illinois started doing it. And I had a lady fan of mine. She had a sign that said, "Rain makes me wet." And she had a dollar bill.
What?
And I was like, all right, it's a girl. So I'll let her put it in my bra. So I let her put it in my bra, and all the men in the whole building pulled out dollar bills. I ran as fast as I possibly could and snatched up as many $1 bills as I possibly could, some fives. And I grabbed them and I snatched them up and I put them in my own bra and then in the referee's pocket, and all of them were like, "Oh, boo-hoo." It was great. That was good heat. It was fun time. But yeah, and then when I started seeing Lacey, she was like, "I'm going to take the dollar bill too." Just like that. And I was like, "Gimmick stealer, gimmick infringement." So like sometimes you'll have to hear me yelling, "Gimmick infringement" at her because she's stealing the dollar bills as well.
Well, here's the question I need to ask you is, how many nights did you end up getting more money from the ringsiders than you did from the promoters?
I would never get stuff from the promoters because I am that person that will steal the ring ropes if I don't get paid. You don't pay me, I'm leaving with your ring. So I'm taking the boards. I don't care. I will find somebody and I will pay them to let me use their card to take me to the airport. I will dump it off somewhere else. I will steal the ring ropes and carry them on the plane with me home. I do not care. If you don't pay me, I'm kicking you in the balls, which if you trained with me and you're a man and you pissed me off in the ring and you're training with me, you're getting kicked in the balls. Or if you're in the locker room and you're a man with me, I have no problem hitting people in the balls. If there's something disgusting to me, I will ball tap them in a heartbeat. And same thing goes with promoters. If you don't pay me, you're getting kicked in the balls. I've rarely ever come along that where I'm like, why am I not getting paid? Only happened actually a few times, and I wouldn't leave until I got paid.
But even when you were getting paid, did you sometimes make more money from the ringsiders than you did from your actual pay?
At the very beginning, yeah. I mean, you have to pay your dues, and sometimes you're working for $25, $40 at the very beginning until you can establish yourself, and the promoters know that you're new, so they're going to take advantage of that and be like, "Oh, I'm only paying you $25." And you're like, "Yes, money?" And then either they're like, yes or no. And then if they say yes, then you're like, $25 profit or $40 profit, yes. And then sometimes I make more money from the fans than I would from, the promoters. In the beginning, I mean, you have to earn it.
Yeah.
Wrestling's not easy. It's not something you're going to get in and make $1 million. Or like, no. Not happening.
Okay.
If you want to do that, join the modeling search, do a diva search, and then get paid that way. If you're pretty enough and if you're selected and if you have some talent, some athletic ability, then you probably get paid. But yeah, you can't just join a wrestling school, pay, $3,000 and then, expect to make that money back immediately. It's not happening.
Well, there's a question you mentioned about if you can go and do something else like modeling. You've done some modeling as well. And we seem to have sort of gone in reverse order from your career, starting from your most recent stuff right back to the beginning. So, I mean, if we finish up by asking you this, if you don't mind me saying, you're a very attractive woman. What makes a very attractive woman want to get into professional wrestling?
Well, I was just hooked from the very beginning. I fell in love, and once you fall in love and your heart's that full of something like that, I mean, whether it's gymnastics, whether it's wrestling or not, you just can't get it out of you. I mean, I'm in love with wrestling. I'm in love with entertaining the fans. I'm in love with, the people some of the people in the business, not everybody, some of the people in the business.
Fair enough.
And, I just like modeling on the side for extra money, and it gives you some good pictures here and there. It's fun. I don't mind it. It's easy work. I mean, it doesn't, hurt your body like wrestling does. And, like I said, you get the pictures out of it. Fans appreciate it. So, makes a little bit extra cash here and there. So it's fun. I don't mind doing it. It's not something I love like wrestling, though. I'd rather go get beat up than take pictures in front of the camera. It's smart.
Wow. All right, then. Well, as I said, we seem to have gone backwards in your career, not necessarily through choice, but it just seems to be the way we've gone. So we've gone right from the most recent to the oldest. Again, as far as getting in touch with you, as far as seeing what you're up to, what have you got now? You got your website, which is radiantrain.com, is that correct?
Radiantrain.com. Yes, radiantrain.com.
TheRadiantRain.com. Go and check that out. You got a membership scheme on there as well, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you can
yes,
check.
I do. And I have videos and photo sets, and I have merchandise, and then I have links to my Facebook, and I have links to my MySpace, and links to my email address. You can, email me personally.
There you go. It's all there for you, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, Rain, thank you very much. Good luck for the future. As you say, we could see you back in Mexico any day, or goodness knows where we're going to see you next. But